Hello, this is Coach Morrison. Today I'm going to talk about my language starter kit. Now, for many years, I have been learning languages, Chinese, French. These are the primary two that I focus on. But I find that there are ways to help people to learn languages that I can give them that will help them to speak any language that they want. Now, I know people, they love Rosetta Stone. They love to look at Pimsleur, and they want to look at especially Duolingo. Well, Duolingo, for example, is a gamification. It means that it makes learning a language like a game. You look for stars and you look for streaks and you do things like that. Well, when it comes to speaking a language, you have to understand this. Language is natural. We all speak a language. Right now, you are speaking a language. You're speaking English. If you see someone who is Chinese and they say, wow, Chinese is a hard language. Well, not to the Chinese, it isn't. No language is hard to the person who speaks it. It's only hard to someone who is trying to learn it in a quick way. Because every language takes time. When the baby is born, it doesn't say anything. It goes through months of listening. And finally it produces its first word. And once the word comes out, it gets context and it goes from there. All right, someone called me, so that's messed up the line right there. Anyway, it's fine. This is what I'm talking about. You learn a language and you say, I want to learn it. But a baby learns it by looking at time and it uses its first word as evidence that you can speak its language. So, for example, if you learn to speak Spanish, the first word you're going to learn is hola. Hola. So it's an easy word to say. Now, there are a lot more words to come and a lot more words to learn, but the point is you learn your first word and you say it. It's hola, hola, hola. You go from there. Me llamo Juan. Mucho gusto. You go from there, you move through it. And so every language has that same feature. You have to get your first word. So what I have done with my starter kit is giving you a way where you can actually put yourself into a mindset. And mindset is important. Why is that? Because if you say to yourself, I'm going to speak French, but you say, okay, I'm going to speak French, so I got to put myself into a mindset where French comes out naturally. If you say to yourself, oh yeah, just speak French, you start getting nervous. So what am I going to say? I'm going to say, oui, bonjour. You say, no, I am going to put myself to a mindset that says, I'm a person who speaks French. I have studied French. I can speak French. I can understand it, and it comes out. But another feature that people don't really understand. Let's say, for example, you hear a song in your head. Right now, everybody's into Michael Jackson. So if you were to hear the song Billie Jean, do you hear Michael Jackson's voice or do you hear your voice? You know you would hear Michael Jackson's voice. But you realize that when you go to speak your language of study, you tend to hear your voice as opposed to hearing the native speaker's voice. So what I'm saying is you have to listen for a while and understand what you're listening and say, okay, it's like musicality. I understand it, I hear it, and now I can repeat it. But I hear the voice of the person who speaks the language in my head as opposed to hearing my own self. And that's the problem with speaking too soon. You put your voice ahead of the other person's voice. Well, the voice that you hear becomes the dominant voice in your brain, and you tell yourself, my English is way better than my French, so my French isn't going to be able to come out. No, you have to put the foreign language in your brain. When I speak Chinese, I don't hear Coach Morrison speaking Chinese. I hear the person on the video or on the tape or my teacher's voice speaking Chinese. And that's how you do it. So the starter kit helps you to start to recognize the voices of the native speaker and put yourself into a mindset that says, I can do this, I can understand this, I can speak this, and you go from there. Also, if you learn a speech, like, for example, If you learn, there's a speech that I learned a long time ago called Modern Man. And it starts off, I'm a modern man, a man from the millennium, digital and smoke free. And it goes on from there. The point is, you learn it from the beginning. And I hear the voice of George Carlin. I, I see him saying it. I hear him saying it. And I start to follow the cadence of the voice in my head, which is his, not mine. Okay. And so same thing with language. When you start to do what is called dialogues, you don't have to worry about the words. You worry about how the words fit together. Okay. So it's like you would say, I like to go to the movies. So, 我喜欢吃电影院. So you break it down. I like to go to movies, see movies, watch movies, whatever. So you break the words down slowly. Slow is more important than you really can understand and comprehend. In the military, they say slow. They say slow is fast. Okay, or they say smooth is fast and slow is fast. So you have to be able to do it slowly, and then you become faster. So the starter kit emphasizes in a great way going slow. Slow is smooth and smooth is fast. That's the quote. So the starter kit gives you that. And the thing about starter kit that I really love is the fact that people who do the starter kits tell me every time they can say every word in the course over the month. That's important. That's amazing. It's like if you study something and all of a sudden you say to yourself, okay, what can I say? I mean, what words do I remember? It's not it. Starter kit, the words are built into the system. So every lesson you are focusing on one sentence at a time, and you look at each word by word, forwards and backwards, and you get it. You don't just pass on to the next course or to the next lesson. You master each lesson every day. The thing about it is, you don't have to memorize it. You have to internalize it to the sense that you felt that you had success in the day, and that success keeps you going throughout the entire month. So at the end of the month, you start to say things that just come from your study. And so that's what it's all about. So I'm very excited about the starter kit. It's something that I have really feel really proud of. I put this together. This is my own invention. I put this together from my experience of studying and learning and figuring out what is the best way to arrive at a language. And it's this way. So the starter kit is there for you. It's available in French, Italian, Spanish, Russian, all languages that you can learn from. The starter kit is there for you. And why? Because I speak all these languages? No. Because I learned how to put together the course based on how you learn languages and what words you need to learn to say in the beginning. So I'm very excited about that. So again, if you ask me to send some information, I will do that. I'll tell you what the price is for the starter kits. I mean, it's an amazing thing. And it's like the more people realize how powerful it is, the more they're going to start to really go towards it as something that they're going to use for the rest of their career of learning languages. This is the way. And the reason I call it a starter kit is because it gives you a strong start in the language. That's what it's all about. Not like Rosetta Stone, where you learn to say just dumb stuff. You know, the puppy is blue and stuff you will never use. The starter kit contains lessons and words that you will use in real life. So that's what it's all about. So right now I got to go. I'm just spending some time talking, giving you this information. Again, this is going to revolutionize people's lives when it comes to languages. I know for a fact. In my life, people who I've sold these courses to, people who have looked at it, who are native speakers and said, "Man, this is really the way languages should be given out." So the starter kit is there. It's available. I want you to have it. So let me know, and we'll take it from there. Right now, I got to go. I'll be talking about this from now on. because the starter kit is part of Focus 5. It's Coach Morrison. Have a great day.